Hey guys, we're gonna finish up chapter 12 of Escaping the Giant Wave. And it's our last page of or last couple pages of our book. And it's kind of sad, but I'm gonna make sure the volume's turned up. All right. It's Norm, BB said. Norm, I called, waving my hands over my head. BB ran to him and threw her arms around him. Together they returned to where I waited in line. I'm so glad to see you, Norm said, wiping tears from his wrinkled cheeks. And Pansy! He picked the wriggling dog up and hugged her. We let her go last night, figuring she'd follow you kids. We wanted her to be safe, even if we didn't make it. Where's Josie? BB asked. She's gone, Norm said, his voice breaking. When we heard the second big wave coming, I climbed up a tree and pulled Josie up after me. When the wave hit us, I was able to hang on, but Josie couldn't. The force of the water was too much for her. She lost her grip and was swept away. Norm stroked the dog, unable to talk for a moment. I thought of going with her, he said. We were together 47 years, and it would have been easy to release my hold on the tree and let the water take me too. But then I thought about our son and our grandkids. I'd like to see those grandkids grow up. I worried about Pansy too. She needs me to look after her. I'm sorry about Josie, I said. I liked her a lot. I loved her, BB said. I had her handkerchief. Pansy found it this morning. BB held the handkerchief toward Norm. You keep that, honey, Norm said. Think of my Josie whenever you use it. Thank you, BB folded the handkerchief carefully and tucked it in her pocket. You kids saved Pansy's life, Norm said, and she saved ours, I replied. She barked to let us know when the second wave was coming, and we hid behind a big tree. Norm stood with us a while we waited in line. He told us that his house had been destroyed by the tsunami. One of the firefighters helped me get down the hill, he said. He managed to stay afloat on the beam from the hotel during the first wave, then swam ashore and ran up the hill before the second wave hit. He found me as soon as it got light and we came down together. We saw footprints, BB said. We knew someone else had to have been in the woods. The line finally moved slowly. We had not yet reached the entrance to the tent when a man with a megaphone came out and shouted an announcement. If any of you are here to inquire about passengers on the Elegant Empress, please follow me. BB, Darren, and I hurried toward the man. So did several other people who had been waiting in the line. When we were all grouped around the man with the megaphone, he said, I have good news for you. The Elegant Empress was far enough away from shore that it was able to ride the tsunami waves without capsizing. All passengers and crew are safe. Wasn't the ship damaged? Someone asked. No. The captain waited until the all clear signal was radioed to him, and then the man kept talking, but I found it hard to concentrate on his words. They were safe. Mom and Dad were alive. When I tuned in again, I heard him say the captain kept the Elegant Empress out until daybreak because he knew that Fisher Beach dock, where he normally arrives and departs, was destroyed, and he didn't want to dock someplace new in the dark. He traveled 20 miles north before he found a suitable dock that was intact. He's now landed safely and the passengers are getting off. If the phone lines are still out, how do you know all that? BB asked. Emergency workers have mobile radios that run on vehicle batteries, plus, we have a network of ham radio operators. A TV news crew has a satellite link, and we're getting reports from their helicopter too. When we looked for Norm to tell him our good news, we found him with a younger man. This is my son, Arnie, Norm said. He's invited me and Pansy to stay with him and his family for a while. Thank you for helping us last night, I said. Here's your flashlight. We'll always remember you and Josie, BB said. Even though we had known the elderly couple for only a few hours, I knew BB was right. I would never forget their kindness. An hour later, Mom and Dad arrived in a yellow school bus that had been pressed into service. Darren's parents were with them. Mom cried when she saw us, and I admit I had a lump in my throat too. The governor declared the whole Oregon coast a disaster area. Since we had lost all of our clothes and luggage, as well as our hotel room, we decided to fly home as soon as we could. By 7 o'clock that night, we had ridden to Portland and booked a flight back to Kansas. Alexander the Greatest was glad we came home early. He rubbed around my ankles, purring his pleasure. As I poured fresh water in his bowl, Mom said, Dad and I are proud of how you acted in an emergency, Kyle. We decided to raise your allowance. All right, I did a victory dance around the kitchen. What about my allowance? BB asked. I was brave too. You were brave, Mom agreed, but Kyle's the one who made the decisions. He was responsible. To my surprise, Bibi didn't argue. With my increased wealth, I bought Bibi a new teddy bear. I thought she'd name it Bill Jr., but she didn't. She named it Dollar Bill. A couple of weeks later, I started 7th grade. I never did get my batting average where I wanted it, but I ended the season batting 2.235, which is 15 points higher than the year before. And I made 2 double plays as a shortstop. I didn't learn to pop a wheelie on my scooter either, although I skinned up my arms and legs trying. On the first day of school, my new language arts teacher assigned a report. We were each supposed to write about our summer vacation. During lunch recess, Gary and I were kicking a soccer ball around when Darren walked towards us. Here comes trouble, Gary muttered as he picked up the ball. Let's get out of here. It's okay, I said. He won't bother us. Gary looked skeptical, but I stayed where I was. Darren stopped beside me. Are you going to do your report on the trip to Oregon? He asked. Yes. If we tell everything that happened that night, Darren said, nobody will believe us. Especially the part about you landing on the elevator tower during a tsunami. That was amazing. Amazing, he said, but true. And then the really amazing thing happened. Darren Hazelton actually smiled at me. I thought Gary was going to faint. I'm going to call my report the terrible trip, Darren said. It was the worst vacation ever, I agreed. But I knew the trip hadn't been all bad. I wasn't afraid of Darren anymore. And that's the end of our fabulous book, Escaping the Giant Wave. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. Can't wait to see you guys soon.